I'm Tara with Tara Simon Studios, and today I'm going to be reacting to me singing Fall For You. This is by Leela James. This is basically a reaction to my One Take Wonder that was recently released, and the goal of this reaction is to show you guys and break down for you specifically what I was doing vocally. I'm going to be as objective and hard on myself as I possibly can be, which means I'm going to be super picky. And I'm going to basically tell you what I was feeling, what I was thinking, how the notes were coming out, why I may have done this over this, etc. Singing and playing and sitting is also a thing too. But we're going to start from the beginning, and I hope you guys get a lot out of it. Here we go. Hey guys, I'm Tara with Tara Simon Studios, and this is One Take Wonders. For those of you who are new to the series, which all of you are because it's my first one, what I'm doing is I am singing a song straight through, no auto-tune, no frills, and then later on in coming weeks I'm going to react to what I did and break down vocally what went on in my body and in my voice so that hopefully you can get a better understanding of how to do it yourself. This is super scary for me, super vulnerable, but I think it's for the good of those who love to better themselves with voice, and so I'm doing it for you guys. I love you. This is a really near and dear song to me. It's actually dedicated to my future husband, whoever he is, wherever he is in the world. This song is called Fall For You from Leela James, and I hope you enjoy it. Here we go. And the reason I started to think about doing One Take Wonders, guys, is because even in TikToks, like sometimes people pretend like they're singing live, but they're really not. And it's already polished, it's tuned, it's comped, it's EQ'd and all these things. And then you poor guys on the other end of the screen are comparing your voices in real life in real time to theirs. And that's not fair. It's not a fair comparison. That's like comparing a girl on a beach that you're seeing with your own naked eyes to an airbrush model on a magazine. That's not even fair. You're not even comparing real to real. You're comparing polished and perfected and not reality to something that's real, and it's impossible. So I, in all fairness, wanted to say that for those of you guys who are singing and you're comparing your voices to others, make sure that you're comparing it to someone who's doing actually what you are doing, which is singing live with no autotune and no comping, because it's become such an art form in that it's really even hard to tell nowadays. So I'm trying in this effort, in this One Take Wonder and in this reaction, to pull back the curtain of what true reality is when actual singers who are singing live experience live performance in one take, because there's a difference between singing through one verse and then singing through an entire song and how your voice sounds when you can piecemeal it together versus sing the entire song all the way through. Okay, so here we go. This is me. Yeah.
Here we are together, and everything between us is good. I'm riding this cloud, baby, ready to fly, so before I take another step.
Okay, so that's the verse, and then we're about to get into the chorus. I was thinking this whole time, okay, like pace yourself, you're doing this whole song, it is a one take wonder, right? There's also a certain amount of distraction in my mind because I'm playing as I'm singing, and for me, that takes some bandwidth, right? I don't normally play the piano all the time when I sing, and if I do, it's usually my original song that I created. So I'm really being very thoughtful and methodical about splitting my focus in a way that still gives me enough bandwidth to focus on sounding good, because after all, you are all hearing it. So I'm also thinking about my breath and my jaw. I have this bad habit, I'll admit, when I sing and play, because I do a lot of worship music, that I kind of end up doing this and I lift my head to the sky, which is a posture of simulated strain, even if I'm not straining, even if I'm just worshiping. Like, this is not great to be in all the time as you sing. So you're gonna see that throughout the video. Like it's hard for me not to do that because I get up in my feels and then I remember technique and I bring it back down. But let's get into the chorus now.
Would you catch me if I fall for you?
That was clean.
'Cause I'm falling.
Swallowing to reset.
I'm so used to standing. I'm so used to being on my own.
Okay, so there, when I was practicing it a little bit in the previous weeks, I would mess up there a little bit. On my own, that da-da-da-da sometimes got a little muddy. So I was thinking there, okay, like make sure that you set it on the top like Jello. It's for those of you who are my students, you know exactly what I mean. But set it like Jello for a second, own, so that it's not muddy on the way down. If you set it on the top and don't rush that first note, the rest of it will just sort of waterfall down. So I was focusing on that right there, and I was glad to hear that it came out right that time.
This thing is new, babe.
Try to evoke feeling too.
Feels like I'm losing control.
That was me too.
I'll take enough.
So that part was a little muddy for me, and I was like, about it. I'll take enough is really what I wanted it to sound like, but it kind of came out a little muddier. I think it got stuck in the back of my throat a little bit because, as you can see, my chin was raised just a little bit. It wasn't down, and I did not drop my jaw enough. Shame on me. And so it was a little muddy, but if I went, it's nice and crisp and clean. So, you know, there's that. Let's keep going.
Other step. If you catch me when I fall for you. 'Cause
right there too, I would have liked that to be a little cleaner. If you catch me when I fall for you, was what I was going for. And it didn't quite happen there. And again, I'm trying to, as I'm singing this in this video right here, I'm trying to evoke emotion, not necessarily worry about being completely vocally perfect, but there's a fine balance between, you know, sacrificing some vocal perfection for emotion and commitment to emotion versus the opposite, right? There is a line that you tiptoe across and on. So catch me when I fall for you. Is what I really wanted. I don't even know if I could make it muddy like that again. It's sort of like luck of the draw if you're not intentionally dropping and locking, which I didn't there.
I'm falling. Oh, I'm falling.
I like that I didn't take a breath there. I wanted to continue it intentionally.
I'm falling.
That was nice. And I really enjoy, personally as a singer, taking a vocal break from chest in a creative way by flipping into head or mix in some way. I'm falling. That's a break for me up there. It's not just a registerical break, it's a vocal break. It gives me a break, a rest from my chest, and it also is artistically interesting, so it's a bonus, right? It's a win for me, it's a win for you.
You promised to be there.
That was good.
Stay by my side always.
So there was my little nod to Leela, right? I just love her vocal intonation as she sings the song in the style, and she just this wow, she just the biggest like wow there, and so like, you know, I'm not trying to copy her, but I did want to give her a nod there and be like, I got you, girl. I see you. This is my favorite part of what you do. So for this part, this is the bridge, is the hardest part. I had to get my mind right, and the promise you be there, I was swallowing beforehand. And I was trying to keep my posture great, thinking about where I was going. But this always, for me, was sort of just, okay, Tara, you got to let this go now. It's just, always. You can't try to make that vocally perfect. It is just a surrender, a release. If I try to, if I'm like, okay, and now I'm going to fry, I'm going to choke myself because I'm trying too hard and there's tension there. It's really just this, always. It just happens. You don't make it happen. It's a feeling more than it is a sound. The sound is a byproduct of what you're feeling in that moment. That's actually really important to think about.
Whenever I need you, don't let me down. No, if I gave you my all.
That part was scary for me, but somehow every time I went for that, even when I was practicing this song, I got it. I got it every time. I think it was the placement in my voice. Like it just felt right. I liked that part a lot for me. It felt good for me. It may not feel good for another artist, but that part, I like that embellishment for me.
Don't let me fall. Would you do that for me? Hold me. Will you
Okay, so I'm not gonna lie. On that part, as I was going through it, I was like, okay, this sounds really good. Don't screw it up. Don't do too much and don't keep it going beyond what you're capable of because you don't want to have to start this whole song over again. Like, I was like, okay, end it now. It sounds good. You know, sometimes you can get into this this riff blur where you're just like, I don't know how to end this and it's gonna, it just keeps going. So I was very happy with the crispness and the notes that came out, and I was like writing that melodic line down. I'm like, okay, now you need to poise yourself and end, because if you don't, you're running a very high risk of this sounding bad at the very end of your riff, and then you're gonna have to start the whole song over, because after all, it is a one take wonder, right? Right. Okay, so let's move on to the next part now.
You love me.
More emotion now, more intimacy.
'Cause my heart's ready
Swallowing.
for love and to be loved. And I choose you, babe.
So there's a little flutter in my voice there, and that was intentional. The I choose you, babe, you, babe. I was a little sharp just then. I choose you, babe. The you, for me, da 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 da, it helps me when I flutter to be extra crispy. And so when I'm feeling a little bit like, I'm kind of tired, I really want to make sure this comes out right, I will choose to add a note into my rundown or a little flutter to just sort of set and sort of like compartmentalize my notes. It makes me feel my edges, my vocal edges. You know, I have a baby, when they sleep, they want to feel their edges. Like, I like to feel my vocal edges, and fluttering helps me to feel my vocal edges and feel safe in a small contained way, versus just, I don't know where this note's gonna end. Also, again, I choose, going up into head voice there. It sounds cool, it's nice, it's pretty, it's artistic, but again, gives me a vocal break from using my chest voice, which I just did a lot of in the bridge.
That's the one thing I'm sure of, so I will take this one last step.
Don't know why the camera went out of focus here,
So
sorry.
catch me, I'm falling for you.
That was crispy.
'Cause I'm falling. Oh.
I didn't like that. I just didn't. Like, I'm falling. I meant to cry there, but it didn't happen, and just sort of sounded a little off pitch. Like, I'm falling. That's what I wanted to do, but that's not what came out, so sorry.
I'm falling, I'm falling. I'm falling.
Now that I was pleased with. I was debating in my head, should I do I'm falling? Should I do chest? But I was like, we're almost at the end of the song. Let's not beat him over the head with chest voice. So I chose to do this head voice mix. I'm falling. But I liked how crispy that take was. For me, I thought that was a win, and I was happy with the choice that I made there. And it was a split-second decision right before I went to do it. This was all one take. And actually, to be honest, guys, this wasn't just one take. It was the only take I did to this song. I didn't like do a bunch of takes all the way through and chose the best one. I didn't do that, I promise you. I sat down at my piano. I warmed up beforehand with vocal exercises. I did practice the song a couple weeks prior too, but I sat down and I played it and sang it one time, and that's what you're watching. I didn't even do it a second time because I really wanted to be that authentic, that honest.
I'm falling, I'm falling. Da, 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 da.
Again.
I'm falling.
I almost wish I ended that a little sooner there. Something. I didn't love the way I ended that melodically. It was a choice. And again, I'm improvising here. I don't really know where I'm going. I just sort of feel it and go with it. If you're not to that level of improvisation, that's totally fine. You can pre-improvise your riffs and runs beforehand and then make little small changes during the song, or not. They can be not improvised at all. And people will be none the wiser. But for me, I'm to the point where I just sort of like, I go with what I feel and just pray it sounds okay. And most of the time I'm happy with it. That one, not so much.
I'm falling, I'm falling.
I like those.
Falling, falling.
Now that one, I was like, okay, this is a really big risk. Going falling, which right now doesn't even seem very low for me at all. But after singing that high for that long, going down like that was a really big risk that I took because it was the very last note of the song. And if I screwed it up, if I didn't get it, or if my voice cracked, I would have had to do the whole song over again because it is a one-take wonder. Lots of pressure, right? So I chose, though, to be brave, and it does pay off, guys. Like a lion pounces on his prey. You get your mind right, you do it. I thought of my technique. I was like, I need to drop my jaw. I need more space because the rule is any extreme note, high or low, needs more space and support. So, falling. Ooh, and I was so relieved that I got it, that I didn't have to do the whole song over again. But sometimes going low after you've gone so high for so long is more of a challenge than staying high as you are. So just be brave, but don't go outside of the scope of what you know your current capabilities are. You want to push the limits, but don't go over the cliff, okay? Topple over. And the only way you know what your limit is and where the edges are, going back to that baby analogy, is by vocalizing, by training, by knowing your voice so well that you can manipulate it and use it to its fullest capabilities in the middle of a performance. You can gauge based on how you feel and how you sound where you are and where you're capable of going 30 seconds in, a minute in, 3 minutes in, until the end of the song. So I really hope that this breakdown helped you guys. I hope it edified you on your vocal journey. I hope that it gave you some insight as to what goes on in my mind as I'm singing and all the, the vocal insecurities that we all have in the voice in our head. But getting past that is the key. It's not denying its existence, and it's not even trying to shut the voice up. It's recognizing it and then moving on and saying, yeah, but that's just not the truth, and I'm gonna go with this because I know this about my voice. There's fear, sure. There's apprehension, sure. But you don't have to stay in that place, right? Singing is 90% mental, 10% talent. So what you think is what you will be. How you think you're going to sound is what's going to come out. So think positively, sound great. It's really that simple. It really kind of is. And it's not going to always be exactly what you wanted, right? I mean, there were parts in this performance that I didn't love, but overall, I thought it was a pretty successful one take all the way through, one attempt performance, one take wonder. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments box below, and let me know what you would like me to do a one take wonder on next, because your girl's taking requests. All right, guys, I love you so much. I am proud of you. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure you spread faith, not fear, love, not germs, be a blessing in a stranger's life, because that is how we change the world. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye. And I'm hanging outside of